ドクターか。
Hello and welcome to discussion and guide on preparing for CC1, the first contingency contract. This is not going to be anything specific, just a general overview and recommendations or guidelines. Let's begin with a quick TLDR. You want to level up your main team up to E2 30 to 40, then select a few masteries for them, then focus on side picks in case one of your main operator is unusable. For example, Angelina or Estina for magic DPS when the casters are banned. A disclaimer beforehand, the information gathered is entirely dependent on what we have seen from the Chinese server. Although unlikely, there might be differences in contracts, risks, and rewards when CC1 comes to global EN. With that out of the way, I'll say this beforehand. It is hard. Especially with how global server is on a rushed timeline, doctors have had even less time to prepare. It's highly possible that the majority of players will not be able to get max reward, unfortunately. Also, kindly turn away if you're looking for low star clear talk. Welcome to endgame, use your operators as you level them. Low star strategies are too specific to be of any use unless you have the exact same composition. To give a brief recap on what CC event is, Contingency Contract is basically going to be our first taste of Arknights endgame. The way it works is that we're given a basic stage with some fairly easy to handle enemies, but then we're given the option of increasing the difficulties of these stages by selecting different conditions to increase the risk of the mission. The conditions are similar to what we see in our challenge modes, from operator ban, sniper, caster, or guard, to defender bans, to decreased cost regeneration or HP, attack, and defense multipliers for your operators or for the enemies. The best thing about CC is that it doesn't cost any sanity whatsoever, and your friend supports don't refresh when you use them, so test and play to your heart's content because the only thing you'll be using is your real life sanity. So that leads us to the question of how rewards are obtained. If we don't spend any sanity, does that mean we get infinite mats? Unfortunately, not. Rewards are given as tokens based on how high of a risk you clear, and the tokens are used for trading for the rewards such as Siege's skin. Yep, Siege skin is free. The shop itself is divided into two portions, a limited trade and an unlimited trade section. Thankfully, acquiring the tokens for the limited trade portion is relatively easy as there's a lot of wiggle room allowed since we don't have to attain all tokens. 16,450 out of the maximum 24,400, which is roughly 60% of max rewards to clear out the better portion of rewards. That doesn't mean to ignore the rest of the 40% of rewards. The unlimited trades are still worth it, it's just relatively speaking less important than the limited trade, so we feel less bad about missing out on stuff. Assuming the first CC event in global is the same as CC in the Chinese server, there's going to be two maps available to us every day. One map is permanently open, and we will be calling it Sector 59, while the other map goes on a rotation. Now, do note this UI you see here right now is the updated UI in the Chinese server, and it might be slightly different for the global version. In my opinion, preparing for the rotating map is slightly different from preparing for Sector 59. The rotating maps test out the strength of your operators as a whole, while Sector 59 tests out the strength of specific operators. This is of course assuming you have the specific setup or composition in mind for Sector 59. To clarify what I mean in regards to the rotating maps, there are a few pesky risks that limit your choice of operators. For example, in the drone stage, there's going to be a day where you can't use guards and defenders, so no Silver swinging or Saria medicing. Another day, there will be caster sniper ban, so you can't use Exia or Aya Fayala to carry. This is also why Glaucus shines in the first CC event, by the way. So on and so forth, you'll find that your strongest operator is handicapped or straight up denied access sometimes to these stages. This is why the rotating dailies test out the strength of your whole pool of operators. The ability to solo carry is relatively squandered because of the limiting risks. Thankfully, we don't need to level up our reserve operators all that much. E1 max should suffice for the most part. I know that the level requirements are a bit high, but again, this is endgame, and I would much rather over-prepare rather than under-prepare for this event. So the takeaway for preparing for daily contingencies is essentially make sure you have diversity of operators for a certain role. Sariel Neural for healers, Silver Ash Glaucus, and maybe even Rope Cliffheart for anti-air, Vanguard's Specialist for melee blocking in the case that you can't use guards or defenders, and so on and so forth. It is also of note that we only need to clear Risk 8 out of the max 11 or 12 depending on the day to get full rewards every day. As for Sector 59, to get max rewards we need Risk 18 out of the maximum possible combination of 27. Now, don't get fooled by the number as Risk 18 is still very hard to achieve. This map is a bit harder to explain how to prepare in this video as there are many strategies for this particular stage, and listing them all out will be both tedious and boring for me and you alike. A general guideline would be to have 1 or 2 very strong vanguards, 1 defender, 1 to 2 sources of arts damage, 1 quick redeploy, and, as much as I hate to say it, 1 Silver Ash. Remember that you have unlimited borrows in CC events, so you can probably borrow that Silver Ash. I know it's very ambiguous, and I apologize for that. There are just so many ways to clear this stage. The amount of diversity of clears makes it so that only you will know what is suitable for you. If you don't mind spoilers and prefer having the safety of achieving maximum rewards, I recommend just watching clears of this map on YouTube and on Bilibili instead. Also, look into the written guide made by 25th Night for further recommendations. His guide and channel will be linked below. And remember, these are only recommendations or suggestions based on our experiences in the Chinese server. Not having the operators does not mean they aren't nor can't be used in Sector 59. I am merely skipping over them for now, or else everything would be too cluttered. One final thing before this video ends. I recommend preparing for the rotational maps more, as they provide more rewards and are overall easier to achieve, although Sector 59 will allow for more bragging points. If you stuck all the way to the end of this video, thank you for listening. As I said before, this guide was really a general overview and introduction to Contingency Contract, and I'll be going over specific examples made by our fellow YouTubers and Bilibili users in the future. This includes the specific Sector 59 setups too, so consider subscribing to the channel. Do look forward to this event as it is a bundle of challenge, frustration, bullshittery, and fun. If you learned some new info or enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like. I hope you did enjoy it. But for now, I'll see you next time.